So I just came from watching Black Mirror Season 7, all episodes that were released on April 10th, 2025. I'm going to give you my thoughts on each episode. So let's start with episode 1. Episode 1, Common People. This was actually my favorite episode. I found it to be very creative and actually what Black Mirror is all about. You get to see the struggles of common folk who are just going through their day-to-day life. This couple that is celebrating their 3-year anniversary. Suddenly the wife becomes sick and then she has to go undergo brain surgery. She has that section of her brain that has a tumor replaced with a chip, and then it just turns her into like this robot. I think the most painful part was watching the wife spew ads.
Kids love honey. That's why parents love Honey Nugs.
Reminded me so much of these apps that tell you that they are free to use or free to play or whatever. And then, well, once you upgrade to this, there are no ads, but once you upgrade to this, you get to experience an even top tier level of the app. But it just goes to show you how predatory these companies are. The main character, he'll just do anything for his wife basically because they don't have a kid, so he's clinging on to his loved one, and it is so well acted. Whoever wrote episode 1, Common People, that person deserves applause because that person is living in 2025, and that episode was just an encapsulation of what it is to live like in 2025. Episode 2, Better Noir. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. The main character is very unlikable, but I don't know, I found her to be unlikable, but sort of like taking her side in the whole story. What is this presentation that the episode had? They show you Monday, then they show you like this dramatic music. I'm not sure why it had to be presented so dramatically. The whole episode was about trauma and sins of the past. So the main character used to sort of look down on this chick that she was with in high school, and then this chick comes back to make her life miserable. The whole episode was about trauma and sins of the past. However, episode 2, the ending was, how should I say it, badly written in my opinion, because one, this chick who can create her realities, she didn't even think to make a voice recognition for her pendant thing that was taking voice commands. You are this intelligent to be able to create all these thingamabobs, to create all these realities, but you can't even make voice recognition. In the end, it was a good episode. Episode 2 was a good episode. I found that it was diving in how, as society, we try to fill our lives and souls with all this narcissistic stuff and vanity, but in the end, it cannot be used to quell the trauma that is in our lives. So I like that. Episode 3 was actually a really good episode. Hotel Rever, however you pronounce that. Pretty good episode. I felt like it was doing a sort of reflection on like Disney, and they do all these remakes, and then they do DEI. Pretty good. I cannot complain about episode 3. Episode 4 had a lot of like 90s nostalgia with gaming, but a bunch of stuff that I was asking myself while watching this episode. First thing, this dude is playing this game, and I know it's set in the 90s, but did this not have a save file at all? Like, I know that the game was sort of experimental, but was there no way to save even you progress on like a diskette? Because the whole game was that you have all these hatchling things that you take care of, and then they go multiplying. Does that mean that you have to play the game 24/7 to progress? What if your lights go out? I know in the US, probably the US, Britain, wherever the episode is taking place, I know that lights don't go out as much, but what if the lights go out? Does that mean that the guy had to start his game from the beginning? In the end, I found the whole thing to have it had episode 4 was a bit of a complex episode, and it had a bunch of themes like video game addiction, but also there was this subtext of like incel culture, because the main character was just this like basement dweller dude. He had no friends. He had only like one friend who he ended up killing, and he was like alone. He had all this rage, and his only friends were like these throng hatchlet things. So there was this incel culture type subtext, and I get that they were trying to do the whole what if humanity could be rid of all their violent impulses and be able to have like this caveman, the main character says caveman Darwinian 1.0 type mentality removed. In the end, I found the episode to be kind of good, bad. It left me wanting more. Episode 5, the one about the eulogy, it had Paul Giamatti, but I think Paul Giamatti was the best thing about that episode. Each of these episodes sort of has like an inspiration. So the first episode is sort of kind of revolves around like dating apps. The way dating apps work with like, let's for example Tinder. The Tinder has like the free version, then gold, then platinum, and then episode 2 obviously has to do with trauma and like scenes of the past. Then episode 3 sort of took inspiration from like Disney and how they do their remix, because episode 3 had a black woman doing the role of a white guy. That's something like Disney would do. And then episode 4 revolved around nostalgia gaming and the 90s nostalgia, but also a bit of incel culture stuff. Episode 5, the whole inspiration of episode 5 is like if someone said a photo is worth 1,000 words, and then you get to dive deep into photos, and it's a nice exploration. The visual effects are good. Paul Giamatti's acting is good, but I found the whole episode to be pretty predictable. I could predict that the AI would end up being Paul Giamatti's ex-girlfriend's daughter. They try to do this thing where they hide the ex-girlfriend's face as a sort of mystery box so that you keep watching, but I don't like that type of storytelling. Also, in the end, when they go into this picture and they see that the ex-girlfriend had left a note, I was like, in the end, they are going to find the note. The episode was very predictable. Episode 6, oh boy. Episode 6 is where I began seeing a lot of Easter eggs. For example, there was like this Demon 79 reference. Demon 79 is the episode from the previous season. There was the dude who played the demon in Demon 79. He is in this episode as like an Easter egg. In fact, there are a lot of Easter eggs in this episode, and I'm sure also episode 5 there are a lot of Easter eggs. And episode 6, this one from season 7, episode 6, USS Callista into Infinity. This is a follow-up from a season 4 episode. Like, damn, how you can expect viewers to remember all the details from episode 4, but it's fine. The whole episode is 1 hour 30 minutes. Oh boy, that's like a whole movie. And then there was like this castaway joke where some dude had like a rock friend, and then he had like put a hole in the back. That I remember that from like Family Guy. The episode was so like meant to be fun and funny. I didn't take it as serious, but I thought it was decent. I can't compare it to episode 1. I think for me the best was episode 1. Episode 1 and episode 3 are the ones that I have zero complaints about. All the others were kind of flawed-ish, but in the end I think I'd give the whole season like a 7 out of 10. Those are just my thoughts. How much thought of season 7? I'd really like to know. There was no way I could review this without spoiling stuff. But give me your thoughts. And then on the screen, I actually did a review of season 6 on this channel. I did reaction videos. Check them out, and then I'll see you in the next one.